Right guys, hope you're doing alright. It's Ryan here, back again with a new series, this time creating a track from absolute scratch. So I'm going to go through every step of the process, starting from the template all the way till finishing the track. I then want to get the track signed, so I'll go through the process of how you send a track off to demo, how you email different record labels, how you decide which record label you get, etc. As you can see in the title, today's lesson we're going to be looking at setting the scene for the track. So looking at a template, looking at reference tracks, what type of idea are you looking in your track, for example. So without further ado, let's go. Right, we're in Fruity Loops now. Sorry, FL Studio, it's changed its name. So to start off guys, we're going to be looking at how to create a template. Now I think this is extremely important if you're thinking about creating trance for the long term. If you get the template done straight away, it'll be a lot easier in the future when you're creating a trance track. If you don't know what a template is, it's basically every time you open a new project, you will have a presetted or preloaded settings for that project. For example, you've got all of the different track names all set up already on here if you look. We also have our own channel strips all presetted. Okay, and this we'll get to why this is important later on. First of all, we'll look at how you actually make the template. What I'd suggest is press new from template already, go down to minimal, go to empty. Okay, that will create a full blank template. Now I'm not going to do that because I've already got one set up here. If you did that, you'll have a blank template with no names on the side, nothing. Now all you have to do is add the different names. Okay. So first of all, the most important ones, for example, are kicks. So your kicks, your normal elements of the track. So I've got kick 1, then I've got kick 2 for layered. Then underneath I've got kick auto and kick auto 2. That's going to be tracks used to put automation in. All you do to change these is right click, rename, change it, and then change your colour. Simple as that. What I've done to separate different sections, I've also got a track and renamed it to what the subsection's called. So I've got kicks here. I've got white, and then drop it down. Now a real cool recent-ish feature finally in FL Studio is what you can do is you can collapse these so you can see your whole project. Yeah. So how you do that is you right click the tracks underneath the group one, and you just say group with track above. You do that for all of the ones that you want to be under the same one. Okay. Then the next one, percussion, that won't have track above. Okay. You do that so on and so forth. So I'll quickly go for a run through of what I use very quickly. I've got a reference channel. So this is going to put a reference track in that you want to have your sound similar to. Doesn't have to obviously be the exact, you don't want it to be the same. It's just a reference. Global automation. So that's just so you could change parameters of the whole track. Get to that later. Global automation 2 again, so you can have an automation for another one. You can add obviously as many as you want. Risers, I've called it risers down. These are just my effects. So saw risers, white noises up, down, etc. I have crashes, effects, etc. that you can have in. Okay, so these are just extra things. I've got a snare bit. I have a percussion one. So I've got open hat, closed hat, claps, percussion 1, percussion 2. That could be things like toms or raids, loop 1, 2, and 3. I might have more loops, and then percussion auto underneath. Again, that will I'll be able to add automation. Now normally I will have to add more automation. So all I would do in a project is right click, press insert 1, and then this is where the automation will go for the one above. I've got bass, I've got sub bass, mid bass 1, mid bass auto, mid bass 2, mid bass 3, bass auto, acids, vocals, pluck, so pluck 1, pluck auto 2, 1, pluck 2, pads, lots of pads, next one for pad bass, pianos, and leads. So all together, we have a project would look like this. Okay, so these are all of the different elements. Okay, another useful thing you can do, okay, is set up all of the different channel strips. So every single time you open the project, you don't have to rename them, you don't have to route them by place. Okay, so again, what I've done, I've set up all of these different strips, these all correspond to the different different tracks here. Okay, so for example, kicks. I always have kicks at the start next to my bass because this is the main levels I'm going to have to adjust. So this is how I've got it. So all you have to do is just right click it again, rename, recolor, change it to red, kick. Okay, now I've got kick 1 and kick 2, and those two are routed. Sorry, not routed. Again, routed into a kick bus. Normally they will be like this. Okay, they'll be going straight to the master. What you do, you take it off the master and you put them onto the kick bus. Okay, so both kicks are going to the kick bus. Now, then the kick bus goes back to the master. So the kicks go into here, through to the kick bus, then out to the master. Now, what's the point in doing that? Now, the whole point of doing that is so you can change some parameters on both kick 1 and 2 at the same time and not independently. Now, you'll see this little line in between. This is a separator. This is purely just to help me say that these are different from what these are. So these are the snares, these are the kicks. All you have to do is right click it and press separator, and that will separate to the left here. If I take separate off, no line. Separator, done. And again, snare 1 and snare 2 goes to snare bus. There's no right or wrong way of doing this, but this is the way I do it. So, on my bass. Now this is where it's slightly different. I have all my mid basses. I've got, I should say mid bass 4, never mind. I've got 4 mid basses routed to a bass bus, just like I did for the kick. Now I've got the sub going straight off to the master. The reason I do this, okay, because the sub generally uses a lot lower frequencies. It doesn't need to have higher frequencies. So if I had the sub routed to the bass bus here, I might I might want extra clarity or extra high end in the mid basses, but I don't want it in the sub. So if I added it on the bass bus, it would sound wrong. It wouldn't sound right at all. So the sub would go straight through to the master. Again, all my percussion elements here. Now I do something a little bit different. Again, I want complete control on the open hat. The open hat is off on the offbeat. We'll talk about that later. But at the moment, it's better if you know, in my opinion, the open hat, I don't send to the percussion bus. I want it on its own. I also want the clap on its own, okay? Again, it's exactly the same. If I process the percussion bus, a lot of high end, I might not want on the clap. So I don't have the clap going bad. Everything else, close haps, all the different percussion, 1, 2, loops, etc., all go through to there. Again, acids, pads, the pad bass goes with the same premise as the sub bass. It's got a lot of low frequencies. I don't want it to go with the rest of the pads. Again, exactly same with lead bass. It doesn't go to the lead bus. Plucks, plug bus, effects, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, crashes, etc. White noises, impact, vocals, atmosphere, piano. Now, if you want to go back, make sure if you want to make something very similar to this, go back and pause the video. But it's just a quick run through of what it looks like. Now, I don't recommend this to start off with, but you can also put different effects on your mixer tracks. Okay, so for example, I have Fab Filter EQ on nearly all of, if not all of, the buses. Okay, because I'm generally going to use it. I haven't got much on the lead. I've also got something else, but you can, just to let you know, you can put different effects. Okay, on the mixer, bus, for example, the lead bus, plug bus, whatever, for later. Now what you're going to do is make sure you save that template. All you have to do is go on Save As, then you have to find the folder where FL Studios saves their presetted templates. So on mine, it's just C drive, program files, image line, FL Studios 20, data, templates, and then there's my free ones. Mix down, trance setup new, trance setup. And then all you have to do to open it is new from template, and then it should be here. Trance setup new. There you go, there's my trance setup. So every time I start a new project, this is what I see. Got the template sorted. Let's have a look for a reference track. Right, as you can see, I've got myself a reference. Now, when you're picking a reference, think about what type of track you're creating. Are you producing a tech trance track, progressive trance? Are you producing an uplifting trance track? In this case, I think I'm going to make an uplifting trance track. So I've used one of my previous tracks that did pretty well as a reference because I quite like it. Now, what I'd also do, after you've dragged and dropped the track into your reference, I would drop the volume drastically. And also, assign it to a mixer track. Now, I'm going to put it just on a random one at the end. Just press R. I'm just going to put it, because I know that's my reference, okay? But I'd also, like I say, now I've dropped the volume down because the track has been mastered. So when you're making the track, ensure you drop down your reference so it'll match your levels. So I'm going to use a score. That means this uplifting track is generally going to be quite a happy melodic track. Let's have a little listen at what we've got. So yes, very uplifting track. Let's go for that style. It's out on Always Alive, and it's called a Scory. If you're wondering if you want to have a look at other tracks just to see what the type of tracks I've been. Okay, one last thing. This is quite important in my opinion. If you've got an audio interface, this will work really useful. If you don't have an audio interface, it might sound the tracks quite quiet, so you don't have to do this step. Now, what I do, okay, is I like to make sure all of the faders are quite far down, at least about -5 dBs. The reason why, it's extremely easy to go straight into past 0 dB and distort the sound without you know. A lot of beginner producers will have tracks as loud as possible. It sounds better, but make sure you have it as low as possible, not low as possible, but low, to ensure the mixing process at the end is a lot easier. So how you do this, you go to press the master track, Control, Alt, and press L. Now do it again. That selects all of your tracks. And then you can bring them all down at the same time. Let's just go to -4 at this point. Right guys, that's the first little tutorial done. We've got our template sorted, we've got our mixer presets all done, got our reference track. Now we're ready to make some trance. So next video we'll be looking at kick and bass loops, just to get a drive first. A lot of people will go for the melody first, but I'm going to go for the kick here to get the sounding right what I'm after. Hope you've learned something. See you next time. Bye.